say something funny.
Something funny. How's it going, everybody? Following up our last video, which got so much love and comments and questions about our skimming method, I figured we'll show you another one. So this is day 2 of our 43-step stucco removal system. We already got the first coat on, stucco removed, everything covered. Right now we're about to show you how to skim, roll and skim by yourself as one person the entire ceiling. But before we can do that, Paolo is gonna give the ceiling a quick sand with our Festool. So yeah, we'll let Paolo sand it out and then we'll be back and skim it. So stay tuned. We get a lot of questions about how we mix our mud, so we're going to show you in a few seconds. We're going to use today for the second coat the ultra lightweight mud from USG. CGC has the same one. So this is how it looks right out of the can with no water in it. Maybe if you want to zoom in on it, as you can see, it's really tough, and working with this out of the box will be a nightmare. So what we have is a mixer, or a Makita mixer that's been through a lot, with a paddle. We're gonna give it a good mix. We're gonna add a little bit of dish soap. It might be a myth that it helps with the bubbles, but we like it. And then the last thing we're gonna add to it is this final coat tint. It's a great tint that helps make the final coat look a lot smoother and less imperfections in it. So we're gonna add about a squirt or two to each bucket, and with about a sponge to a sponge and a half of water, and we'll show you in a second what that looks like. Okay, so now we got the ceiling all sanded out, edges cleaned up. Now we're ready to roll and skim our second coat. Today what I'm going to be using is just a normal paint roller and a stick, an extension. This is a 30 millimeter, not a microwave, I don't know what they call it, woven, whatever. It's a 30 millimeter paint roller that we're going to use to roll on the mud. And I'm also going to be using my level 5 24-inch skimming blade and their handle. Highly recommend. If you haven't bought it yet, go on the link on our bio and use our link so we can get some dollar bills, y'all. But basically all you want to do, also you want to make sure you have a 6-inch spatula, knife, whatever you call it, handy to pick up anything from the floor and to clean off your skimming blade. So all we're going to do is dip the paint roller in until it's submerged with mud. Give it a couple yanks, twist, and put your first roll on. Now take your time with this. This can get messy. I like to dip it really good. Give it one of these and spin. You'll see the more that I'm rolling, the longer it goes. And I'm starting about 2 inches away from the edges, and then I'll use my skimming blade to get everything into the edge. So my strategy when working alone is to get about half of the room rolled out, skim it, and then do the other half. So we will speed it up and edit because this is quite boring. Now, a little tip that I found throughout the years is that you always want to start and roll away from yourself. You don't want to go like this towards you, because then all the mud will come right onto your face. So you want to start about here and roll away from yourself. Which way you roll it really doesn't matter, to be perfectly honest. It's more about getting a pretty consistent amount of mud on the ceiling. To all my painters, this is not like rolling paint. So don't try to do it like rolling paint, you know, going all over the place. That's not how you do it. You put one roll and you leave it. That's it. I have a pretty empty area right here, so I'm going to do one more roll there and then we'll skim. Okay, now I got about half of the ceiling rolled. I'm gonna put my bucket here. I'm gonna take my 24-inch knife and start skimming. So first, I'm gonna take some mud onto my knife, about so much, and get it right into the corners. If your corners are not very leveled, it's gonna be hard. So you're not worrying too much how it looks by now. You just getting the mud into the corners. So I have an empty area over there, which the ceiling is not very level, so my knife, it's hard to get in there with the big one. So I'm going to use my 6-inch spatula. I'm just going to load it up like so, go up to the ceiling and load it up. Wipe it off again. Now that's on there, we can continue. Let's wipe off our mud. Just take your spatula. Keep in mind, I'm going extra slow for you guys, and so my video editor doesn't yell at me. Once again, take off some mud, go right into the corners. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to load them up. Okay, now we have our perimeter all loaded up with mud. I'm just going to unload mud. First thing I'm going to do is start wiping off from front to back. Like I said, now we're just simply giving it the first wipe. I like to wipe the ceiling 2 or 3 times in different angles. That way I know I covered any highs or lows and whatnot. So on the first pass, you'll notice that I'm taking off a lot of mud. I'm going right into the corner, and I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on the knife. So basically, knife etiquette is, if you want to take a lot, you go like this. If you want to leave it pretty smooth, you go more perpendicular. So on the first pass, I'm going right like that, just because I want to try to take off mud from the ceiling and see where my low points are. So I'm putting some pressure, taking it off. It's important to squint. Okay, so this is about how much mud I'm taking off every pass on the first go. Now I'm gonna go side to side. Still taking off a lot of mud. Taking off a lot of mud still. Now I'm going to go to this side. And now I'm going to go again this way. However, on this last pass that I'm doing, I'm going a lot of pressure, but I'm going almost flat against the ceiling. We'll go right into the corner. And you see, I'm barely taking off anything. This is all the mud that I took off. Again, very little. Wipe it. Very little. Wipe it. Okay, now we have half of a ceiling all skimmed out beautifully. Any marks or a little roller lint or crap that's on there will get sanded out with our machine. I left it on very tight so we don't have to sand too much. Now I'm going to roll the second half, skim that out, and we'll probably speed that up so you guys don't get too bored. One thing I forgot to mention is that on the first coat, you saw that the mud was yellow. On the second coat, we put some gray in it, so that way we can see which areas we've done, which areas we missed, and also when we go to sand, the guys can see if they sanded to yellow, they went too far. So just an FYI, that's what we do it. Now let's go back to the time lapse. Just like that, we finished skimming out the whole room. We'll give you a quick show around as our light is dying. But thank you for sticking around. Like I said, if you're really interested in learning how to skim, get yourself a level 5 skimming blade. I highly recommend the 24-inch one. It's a size that's pretty big but pretty easy to work with. They also come in 32 and 18 or even 12, I believe. So go on the link on our bio on Instagram or down here below on YouTube and get yourself some. We got a couple dollar bills. If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, questions, anything you'd like to see in future videos, and thank you for joining us.